Miss Rabbit's day off. Peppa, George and Susie Sheep have had a sleepover at Rebecca Rabbit's house. It's fun having carrots for breakfast, laughs Peppa. I could eat carrots all day, agrees Daddy Rabbit. Mummy Rabbit's sister, Miss Rabbit, pops in to say hello. I can't stop long, she says. I've got lots of work to do. I'm working at the supermarket, selling ice creams and driving the bus. Miss Rabbit trips over one of Richard's toys. Her ankle is hurt. You must stay here and get better, decides Mummy Rabbit. I'll do your work for you. Mummy Rabbit puts Rebecca and her friends in charge of looking after Miss Rabbit. Luckily, Susie Sheep has her nurse's outfit with her. Don't worry, she says. I am only a pretend nurse. Mummy Rabbit goes straight to the supermarket. Miss Rabbit is ill, she tells everyone. I'll be doing her job today. Have you ever worked at checkout before? Asks Mrs. Dog. Mummy Rabbit has not. Running a supermarket checkout is quite hard. Miss Rabbit calls home. We need more help, she cries. This job is going to take me all day. Peppa phones Miss Rabbit's ice cream stall. Daddy Pig answers. Miss Rabbit is ill. You've got to sell the ice cream today. Ho ho, snorts Daddy Pig. I'm an expert at ice cream. He gets to work. Selling ice cream is quite hard. Soon the ice cream begins to melt. The ice cream is all runny. Ice cream soup, anyone? Asks Daddy Pig. Peppa phones Grandad Dog. Miss Rabbit is very ill. Can you drive her bus today, please? Grandad Dog gets to work, but driving a bus is quite hard. It's even harder when you have cars to fix too. Back at Rebecca Rabbit's house, Miss Rabbit is feeling better. Can I get up now? She asks. Susie Sheep shakes her head. No, you must lie very still. But please keep breathing. It's not easy doing all your jobs, says Mummy Rabbit at the end of the day. It's not easy sitting down all day, says Miss Rabbit. She will definitely be back at work tomorrow. George's first day at Playgroup. Today is George's first day at Playgroup. Isn't George too small for Playgroup? Asks Peppa. You can look after him, says Daddy Pig. Peppa isn't sure she wants George at her playgroup, but she likes the idea of looking after him. Are you sure George is big enough? Peppa asks when they arrive. Yes, he'll be fine, replies Daddy Pig. OK, he can come, says Peppa. She holds on to George's hand. Snorts George, jumping up and down. Here is Madame Gazelle, Peppa's playgroup teacher. She looks after Peppa and her friends. Madame Gazelle tells the children that George is coming to play. The children are all very excited about meeting Peppa's little brother. This is my little brother George, cries Peppa. Grrr, dinosaur, growls George. Everyone laughs. I wish I had a little brother like George, bars Susie Sheep. George shakes his toy, Mr. Dinosaur, at Madame Gazelle. Grrr, dinosaur! Oh, really scary, laughs Madame Gazelle. Peppa is proud of George making everyone laugh. George is my little brother. He's brilliant, she says. Shall we show George how to paint the pictures? Madame Gazelle asks the children. George is not very good at painting, says Peppa, but I can show him how to paint a flower. Watch me, George, snorts Peppa. First you paint a big circle. Peppa carefully dips her brush into a pot of pink paint and draws a big pink circle right in the middle of her paper. George draws a big green circle. No, George, that's the wrong colour, snorts Peppa. Watch me. Peppa makes yellow petal shapes. George paints a green zigzag. George, that's the wrong shape, says Peppa. Peppa admires her flower painting. Perfect, she says happily. George is still painting. Instead of a stalk and leaves, he has painted another circle with 5 lines sticking out from it. You're doing it all wrong, says Peppa. I've painted a flower, says Peppa. Very good, Peppa, smiles Madame Gazelle. And look, George has painted a dinosaur. Madame Gazelle sticks Peppa and George's pictures on the wall. Now it is time to go home. What will you paint next time, George? Asks Madame Gazelle. Dinosaur, grrr, giggles George. Everyone laughs. Peppa Pig's family computer. Mummy Pig is working on the family computer. She is typing very fast. Mummy Pig has a lot of important work to do today. Daddy Pig is in the kitchen making soup for lunch. Daddy, Peppa asks, can we go and watch Mummy on the computer, please? Yes, as long as you don't disturb her, Daddy Pig says. Mummy, Peppa asks, can George and I sit on your lap and watch you work? Yes, as long as you sit quietly, Mummy Pig agrees. About a minute later, Peppa asks, can we play the Happy Mrs. Chicken game on the computer? Mummy Pig says, we can play Happy Mrs. Chicken later, but now I have to work. Another minute later, Peppa asks, Mummy, can we help you with your work? Peppa taps away at the computer like Mummy Pig. No, Peppa, Mummy says. You mustn't touch the computer while I'm working. Yes, George, Peppa says in a bossy voice. You mustn't do this. Peppa taps away again and the computer flashes. Peppa, stop, Mummy Pig says. Sorry, Mummy, Peppa says. I was just showing George what not to do. Daddy Pig, Mummy calls. Can you mend the computer while I finish the lunch? Daddy Pig says. I'm not very good with these things. Daddy Pig pushes a button. Daddy Pig pushes another button. Maybe if I switch it off and switch it on again. Daddy Pig has mended the computer. Hooray, Daddy! Shouts Peppa. She and George jump up and down. Yes, Daddy Pig smiles. I'm a bit of an expert at these things. Daddy, Peppa asks, can we play that computer game Happy Mrs. Chicken? Mummy said we could play it later, Peppa says. And now it's later. Well, Daddy Pig thinks for a moment. OK then. Daddy Pig starts the Happy Mrs. Chicken game. Ho, 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 Daddy Pig laughs as Peppa and George play Happy Mrs. Chicken. Mummy Pig says as she comes into the room. I see the computer is working again. Peppa Pig's nature trail today. Peppa and her family are going on a nature trail. Mummy Pig asks Daddy Pig not to forget the picnic. As if I would, laughs Daddy Pig. They head off along the trail with their map. Oh dear, Daddy Pig has left the picnic in the car. Mummy and Daddy Pig ask Peppa if she can see anything interesting in the forest. I don't see anything but boring trees, said Peppa. Then she looks really hard and finds some footprints on the ground. Let's follow the footprints and see who made them, says Mummy Pig. We will have to be very quiet so we don't scare anything away. Shh. Peppa and George follow the footprints along the ground. It looks like they were made by a little bird, says Mummy Pig. Soon they come to the end of the footprints. The bird has flown up into that tree, smiles Daddy Pig. Where? Asks Peppa. Daddy Pig gives Peppa binoculars to help her see the bird. The binoculars make everything look bigger. Peppa can see 1, 2, 3 baby birds. They're eating worms, says Peppa. That's disgusting. George finds some more footprints. They are very little. Daddy Pig says they belong to ants collecting the leaves to eat. It's time for lunch, says Mummy Pig. But Daddy Pig has left the picnic in the car. My map is wrong, begins Daddy Pig. We'll have to follow our own footprints back to the car. Suddenly it starts to rain. It washes everyone's footprints away. How are we going to find the car now? Asks Mummy Pig. Ducks love picnics, says Peppa. Mrs. Duck, can you help us find our picnic, please? The ducks lead Peppa and her family back to their car. We're here. Thank you so much for your help, Mrs. Duck, cries Peppa. I love picnics, laughs Daddy Pig. The ducks love picnics too. So do the birds. And so do the ants. Everybody loves picnics, cries Peppa. Peppa goes swimming. It is a lovely sunny day and Peppa and her family are at the swimming pool. Peppa, George, let Daddy put on your armbands, snorts Mummy Pig. Today is George's first time at the pool and he's a bit scared of getting in. Why don't you just put one foot in the water, suggests Daddy Pig. Maybe George should try and put both feet in at the same time, says Mummy Pig. Splash! Mummy Pig convinces George to jump into the water and he loves it. Shouts George happily. Oh, oh, well done, George, snorts Daddy Pig. Here is Rebecca Rabbit with her brother Richard and their mummy. Hello everyone, cries Rebecca. Squeak, squeak, says Richard. Richard, hold on to this float and you can practice kicking your legs, says Mummy Rabbit. George, would you like to try kicking your legs? Asks Mummy Pig. Hee hee, float, giggles George. Oh, oh, very good, laughs Daddy Pig. But please try not to splash. Big children don't splash, adds Peppa. Big children are very good at swimming, snorts Peppa. When George and Richard are older, they will be able to swim like us, won't they, Rebecca? Yes, says Rebecca, as she watches the boys kicking. Peppa and Rebecca race each other up and down the pool with their armbands on. They are having lots of fun swimming and splashing in the water. Oops! Richard has dropped his toy watering can into the pool. Mummy, wah! Cries Richard. Sorry, Richard, I can't reach. It's too far down, says Mummy Rabbit. Luckily, Daddy Pig is an excellent swimmer. He takes off his glasses and dives down to get it. Oh, there you go, snorts Daddy Pig. Squeak, squeak, says Richard. Well done, Daddy, smiles Mummy Pig. Oh dear, now Richard is soaking Daddy Pig with the watering can. What a naughty rabbit. Hee hee hee. George thinks it's hilarious. Everyone has had a wonderful day at the pool.